Hello, welcome to the 3D stereoscopic wiggle video tutorial. My name is Jordan Smith, but before we get started, let's check out an example of what we're making today. So here we have the reception part of a very large wedding video I made out in Marfa, Texas. Lots of cool stuff. You should go check that wedding video out at my website, Smith Family. Alright, so this is the rig. It is a Red Rock Micro Captain Stubbling sort of ghetto rigged with some Zacuto pieces, I think. And on deck we've got two Canon 6Ds and two 35mm lenses. You need to have equal focal length. So I'm sure you can figure out something similar. You guys are creative. Figure it out. Go watch a tutorial somewhere. And so here I'm going to give you an example of how to frame your shots. On the back, I turned on the thirds grid, whatever you call it. And basically, if the tree was my subject, I would line up the tree in the same position on the frame in each camera. And then I would focus both shots and make sure my camera settings on each camera matched the other. So this one I'm shooting neutral, 60 frames per second, yada yada yada. So this killer right here is Ryan Pauly. He is a video slayer, connoisseur of everything 80s, and masterful at everything, whatever. Alright, so here is the footage I got of Ryan. I have already taken the time to cut them down, slow them down, and sync them. You can check it out. Swagging hard, holding a branch, leaves on his head, stone cold. So I'm just gonna copy Apple C these two clips right into our After Effects timeline. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do in After Effects is take my timeline and go to the very first frame of my video. And then I'm gonna drop the opacity on my top layer so that I can line up my point of interest. And because I shot on two different types of lenses, I had a Canon L series, and then my buddy had a Tamron Cinema lens, I believe. I've come out with two image sizes. One's just slightly bigger than the other. Ideally, you would shoot on the same lens, same make and model. So for me personally, I have to lower one to about 94%, I found, to on scale, to make sure my images line up solidly. So I'm just going to zoom in. I think this little highlight on his nose is a good point of interest, something that's going to be good on the motion tracker, and that looks good to me. And I'll take my opacity and bring it back up, zoom out a bit, and if I toggle my layers back and forth, we'll start to see the effect. Looks pretty decent already. But to track it all the way through the clip on his nose, we're going to have to stabilize our image. So on layer 1, I'm going to click Stabilize Motion, and I'm going to set up my tracker point on his nose. And hit this play button to analyze forward, and it tracks great. Look at that beast swagging out. Alright, I'm going to click Apply, OK, and then we are going to do the exact same thing to the bottom layer. And I'm going to go back to the beginning of the clip, the first layer where we want to begin our tracking from, and click Stabilize again, set up our tracking point. And Ryan doesn't move very much in this clip, but I've done the same technique with different clips that have more movement, and it works just fine. Analyze the clip. And hit apply. Okay. So if we take a look at our clips, we'll start to notice these black spaces appear where our image has corrected itself around Ryan's nose right here and made space over here. So we don't want that, doesn't look good. So we're gonna do our best to minimize that. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go layer, new, null object, and then layer, new, camera, and then just hit OK. And then we're going to turn on 3D layers, and we're going to go to that first frame again and select our top layer and hit A for anchor points. We're just going to Apple C copy those anchor points onto our null object and paste those. And now we're going to parent our camera to our null object. And what you'll see is, we play that back and scrub through, that we don't have those lines anymore. Basically, we have counteracted our image stabilization. But I still have this clip, and if you have more movement in your clips, you're going to have more black edges still to deal with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add effect, stylize, motion tile. I'm going to add a motion tile, and I'm going to increase the height by 150 or 120, and then click mirror edges. And so you'll see this less obvious, still annoying style come up. And we're going to do that same thing to the second layer. So just copy that effect and paste it onto your second layer. The second layer is solid. I don't even hardly need it at all. So once we've done that, it's all ready to export. We're just going to take this first one at a time and send them to the render queue. All right, and so I'm just going to label this camera A and export that. Cool. Now I'm going to do the same thing to B. Turn off the top layer and export it. And once that's done, we're going to go back into Premiere and simply import camera A and camera B. And drag it to the timeline. Then I'm going to take camera B, put it beneath camera A. And so here we have our clip. As you can see, that's kind of a dramatic look even for motion tile. Fortunately, during the wiggle, it won't be as noticeable because people's eyes won't be able to catch it, but just in case, I'm going to take layer A, I'm going to select it and scale it up a bit, about 110, and then I'm going to do the same thing for camera B. And then I'm just going to chop it up about every 4 frames. And then I'm going to go through and delete every other frame or every other piece. Alright, then we're just going to play that back and see how it looks. You know what, you can even just open up some music so I can give you the full effect here. Play some cool music. Now we got this dope little music video in our hands. Look at you, Ryan, getting it. Alright, well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and if you make any dope 3D stereoscopic wiggle videos, please tag me at Jordan Smith. That's Jordan Smith with no vowels. You can find my website at smithfamily.com. Again, no vowels, because I'm cool like that. And big thanks to Ryan Pauly for being super suave. Shout out to Ryan Booth. Shout out to all the other Ryans killing it in the video game. Shout out to F-Stoppers. Shout out to Visco Film. Holler at me. Shout out to anyone willing to give me money for video stuff. Shout out to my very beautiful, very pregnant wife. Big thanks to Chris Bryan of Bored with Life for helping me out with the Stereoscopic stuff. Go give him Kickstarter money. And that's it. Thank you.